Now, AI has become so sophisticated. It's able to create really complex layouts. And I'm going to tell you a secret because this is the technique that I use for most of my new designs on Aura. And the secret is I'm going to use screenshot to HTML. And AI is able to do a really, really good job, especially with the new O3 model, to turn an image, a screenshot of your favorite website, of your favorite inspiration, or any design that you have made, and then be really creative with the fonts, the layout, as you can see, the bento layout, the different colors and the contrast. And then we can add more animations, we can change the text, we can add more details, and you can create really unique layouts that doesn't feel like it was made by AI. And I think that is the key nowadays because AI is so powerful and everywhere is how to use these micro techniques that really elevate your design. So such as adding a beautiful animated background using spline, making the right, such as being able to quickly change the icon, making the quick edit on the image, and then finding the right image for your design because you want a presentation to be really captivating to new users, and then also be able to edit using prompts. So this is a new feature that allows you to select any element and you're going to be able to change, for example, to light mode. And this really allows you to control and make quick edits on specific elements. And sometimes you just want to be able to change the text or change the theme of one single card or add details or stuff like that. So you can imagine that if you don't like a button, for example, this one, you can just select on it, go to prompt, and then go to a website like UIVerse, find the button that you like or the card that you like, and then replace the code, but by just copying the CSS style and sometimes the HTML if necessary, and paste right here, and you can say change style, for example, and apply. And boom, you have your new button style. Obviously, because we had an extra icon, you might want to delete this one. It was not part of the design, but if you do that, you can see that you have exactly the style that you had from UIVerse or whatever code or design that you have out there. And this is just an example of what you can do with quick prompts instead of having to regenerate the entire page. Now let's back up a little bit, right? So you have the prompt builder and you also have the ability to just prompt something out of nothing. This is great if you know exactly what you want and if you want to be more creative. In fact, I spent so much time lately making sure that whatever you generate at first is going to give you much better result than before. And you can try that against Lovable and V0 to see how it goes. But I'm quite confident that what you're going to get from Aura is going to be a lot more design centric because I have added animations, I have added like beautiful imagery and fonts and typography corrections and using lucid icons and stuff like that. So as a starting point, this is pretty good. But the most powerful way is either Figma to HTML or image to HTML. Figma to HTML is quite interesting. It does require you to have a lot of designs and a lot of, whether it's from your team or the community, you can download something. The choices are much more limited because compared to websites, you can take a screenshot. It has billions of websites out there and millions that are amazing looking. Now, in this case, I have prepared this file and you can essentially use this for free. So I'm going to send you the link to the Figma file and you're going to be able to use this as a starting point for any design that you make on any of the AI tools. So for example, if you want to have the styling of this specific dark card here, you can just copy link to selection. And then you're going to go to Figma, paste the link. Now you will need a Figma token and you need to essentially follow the instruction to generate your own token. I can't show you because it has a lot of personal information, but if you follow this instruction, you're going to get your Figma token. This is necessary for private files, and it should give you a really, really good starting point. It's it's all data, so it's very, very accurate. Now, what I want to show you now is the most important one, which is using the AI model O3 from OpenAI. And you're going to need to find inspiration in terms of layout. And don't worry, the end result is going to be completely different, especially the more you prompt. Now, what are you looking for? Well, first of all, you want to focus on either mobile or product design or web design. So in this case, product design and mobile design. So again, Aura is definitely more focused on creating components and pages. It's not going to create a full website, but it's really, really good for creating concepts and design, the same you would in Figma, for example. And you're looking for layouts that are interesting to look at and that would fit the tone and the design choices that you want for your website as a starting point. And, it's not going to be super 100% accurate, but that's fine because, for example, a layout like this can be interesting for your website. Maybe you like the little lines here. Maybe you like the typography. Maybe you like the placement of the logo. And the way it works is that most designers collect resources, inspirations, the same way engineers collect codes and snippets and open source projects to study, to serve as a foundation. And that's totally normal. And there's a bunch of websites for that, such as Dribbble, which is one of my favorite, but also Layers, Twitter. And if you look into landing pages, you have Lapa Ninja. Again, there are a lot of websites that are really inspirational, such as this one. And yeah, there's so many of them. There are so many choices. And this is on top of the ones that you might be visiting and using regularly as inspiration, such as Linear, Vercel, Apple, Stripe, the usual ones. But, again, you want to broaden your perspective and also the choices and the different layouts that you want to experiment with. So in the end, I'm going to try with this one. I find that some of the layouts can be really interesting, like maybe you want something that is more technical. Maybe you want something that is contrasting, like this one. So for example, you would take a screenshot using Command Shift and 4, and this is where you take a screenshot and you save that, and then you go back to Aura, and then you copy and paste the image, or you do attach, and then you go to your desktop and then find the image. So in this case, this is the image that I did. I know that I have this little tooltip here. It's not supposed to be there, but just fun of it, we're going to open this and it's going to analyze the image. So this is actually a workflow in which I'm using O3 to analyze the image. It has the best vision out there. And there you go. It's going to attach an HTML file using Vision. And at this point, you want to go to the prompt builder, or you can also write this manually. So I'm just going to give you an example. You want to add details. You want to change the names and the brands and text because you want to make the design different. That's, your screenshot is a foundation. It's like cloning a website. It's like using a UI kit. It's just a foundation, but you want to change as much as possible. You want to use illicit icons. You want to make it responsive. So those are the 4 things that I usually use. And then at this point, once you have this, then you're going to generate your new design based off that foundation. You can also preview how it actually looks like. And you can already see how interesting it is. It's not going to be exactly the same. That's fine. We don't want the same. But it does take inspiration from it. So for example, you can see the menu with the lines here. You can see the sort of like contrasting card, which is what we like here, the title. And yes, we want to change the text because right now it's exactly the same text. We don't want that. And we also want to change, the content. Obviously, it's not going to go too much into the detail. It's going to try. But what we love here is the typography. we love, the layout and the colors, the foundation of that. And Claude 4 is going to take care of the rest. And there you go. This is what I mean. So at this point, you have the animations. So let me just disable the sidebar. You have, a beautiful menu of the light inspired from the screenshot, but completely different. If you look at the original from here to I mean, this is not even 100%. It's just a screenshot of a design that is a 50% scale to Aura, and you can see the design is completely different. It has even different colors, but it definitely is inspired, right? Like it has the menu, it has the lines, even though it's different, and it also has the animation. Look at that. And the reason why we have animation here is, again, I'm adding a lot of prompt engineering to Aura to make sure that it's super design centric. So that's why you have beautiful typography, the tightness of the letters, beautiful colors, but also animations, and also the icons that are really nicely adapted. And so at this point, what do you want to fix? Well, there's a lot of things that you can fix, especially when your design has a lot of images and icons. So for example, oftentimes you're not going to like some of the icons, so you're going to go here and you're going to change that. And what is cool about Aura is that you can search through like thousands of icons. So for example, I can search, and if I want a different search with a user or search with the outline, then it changed right there. And the same with the images, or let's say I don't like this card to be about analytics, I can definitely select the element. And here, interesting thing is that we have an option called select parent. And I thought it was really useful because sometimes you want to select something, it's really impossible to select it. So you want to select parent, and this is where you're selecting the right thing. And at this point, yeah, you can edit the tailwind, you can edit the styling, the transforms and the blur and the background colors and all that stuff. It's really useful for gradients, for example, and playing with that if you're a designer. But if not, you can also, go to the prompt and you can say, adapt to dark mode. And then you make more changes until you're happy. And there we go. We have the card and it's changed to dark mode by just selecting it and quick prompt on it. Now, keep in mind that yes, the chart is not working because it relies on an external script, but this can be easily fixed by going to the final, So the difference between the quick prompt and the left prompt is that this is going to revise the entire page and it's going to look at the entire script. So in this case, let's say this script doesn't work anymore. Well, this final prompt here is going to revise the entire page and it's going to fix whatever is not working here. And of course, you can just decide to change the background. You go back to edit. And by the way, there's a nice little feature that I love is you can drag it and you can just stick it anywhere you want. And as you scroll, it's always going to stay there, which is really cool. So here, if I want to change this background right here, one of the features that I love is I can add an unsplash image. So for example, a render, and I can put a beautiful flower right here and boom, it's so beautiful. I can change the resolution of the image to make it more high resolution. I can find more images and apply anywhere that I want. So this is really fun. And this is what I wanted to make it so designer friendly. And if it doesn't work out, and if for whatever reason you cannot select the correct element, you can always go to the code mode, which is even more powerful because at this point you can just copy and paste any code, any HTML. And again, we're using HTML. We're not using React. We don't have a ton of dependencies and we don't have a lot of errors. In fact, you have seen zero errors so far because HTML doesn't give errors. It's either it works or it doesn't, right? And essentially, if you don't like a button, And if you know a little bit of HTML, you can just essentially just delete this button and just replace it with another button if you want to. And this is all actually the same as VS Code. You can do a lot of the same sort of search and stuff like that. So for example, this is using a slate color. And if I wanted to not use slate, I can just Command D all of these keywords, and I can just change it to one of the colors in the Tailwind color system. So for example, I can change it to gray. I can change it to red. I can change it to blue, and it changes everywhere. And this makes your design even more unique as you make these changes. Look at that. I mean, look, we came from slate color, and by just, editing the images, by editing the icons, you can move things around, you can change the fonts, you can also go into the code and replace any of the code or just do the multiple edits. And it's so powerful. I mean, I don't know. This is exactly what I wish that you could do in Figma, to be able to just select elements and just make quick edits using a prompt to that, and it's going to just do all the work for you. That's exactly what I want from Figma. And that's what I wanted to bring to Aura. And I'm going to add so many more features to this. So once you're done, you're going to open the sidebar and you're going to save a version. You can save anytime, any change. As soon as you're happy with something, you save a version and you have a history of all the designs that you have done so far. And once you're done, you can always do like a final revision, in which, for example, let's say that the chart doesn't work. You can say, fix the chart, and it's going to revise the entire page. You can also, another technique that I like to use is the copy and paste and the duplicate directly. So for example, I can, if for example, I want this one to have another paragraph, I can do Command D, and then it's going to duplicate the element. And at this point, when I select the element, so for example, I'm going to select the parent, then I'm going to prompt something such as change the text, and quickly it's going to generate a new text. And yeah, there you go. So you have the new text, and if it doesn't work exactly the way I want, I can always change manually some of these elements. So keep in mind, you can also do Command C and then Command V. So this is going to copy and paste where you have selected the container, which is pretty cool. You can delete, again, super cool. And once you're done with all the edits, you can essentially export to Figma. So here I'm going to save, and then I'm going to export, copy to Figma. Now this is a new feature. I'm using an API now called Code to Design, which is really cool. And it's going to convert to Figma, and it's going to copy that to clipboard. Right now it only works on Chrome, so in Safari it's not going to work. But once you have this, I can go to Figma, and then all I need to do is just paste. So no longer we need to go through the console. It's just going to work. And that's it. This is how we can create a beautiful design with the power of using a screenshot, essentially, or a Figma file or a Figma design. And we went from this screenshot at 50% scale, and even like a little bit of a tooltip in the way, and we managed to turn that into this. And we did that live with minimal efforts. And of course, as I mentioned before, most of the work that's going to happen in the future is the last 10%. Because no longer we're going to have to start a new canvas, create a new text, create a new button, set up auto layout. No, AI does all of that for you. You can see here, this is adaptive, right? AI does all of that manual work, boring work, technical work for you. So all you need to do is to really focus on the last 10%. And, you know, of course, I could have spent way more time changing the menu, adding details to the menu, maybe changing the colors, changing the icons, changing the image, add more cards, add new sections to this page, add, an animate, like a top bar navigation. I can do a lot of things by prompting, by mixing, remixing, and, you know, this is where it gets super interesting. You're gonna spend all of that time using your imagination, using your creativity, and you're gonna have so much fun doing this. And let AI do the basic work for you so that you can be far more powerful in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this. And again, I'm going to be sharing all of these designs on the Figma file, which I'm going to give you the URL. And also, everything on Aura is free. All of these designs that you see here, for 500 of them, and all the code, you can go to any of these designs and then just export the code. So you can use this on any of your favorite platforms, such as Bold, V0, Aura, or Figma Make. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you